Yeah, I know damn well I want to see some hearts in that chat. Yeah, I know damn well I want to see some hearts in that chat. Shout out to the Love Room. This is a space of positivity, support, love, critical thinking, analysis, hypothesis. Hippolyta. Yeah, y'all know what time it is. I know what time it is. I'm trying to do a messy bun today, but I think I'm just giving mess. In the mirror, it look cute. On camera, it looks disastrous. It looks disastrous, but we rolling with it. We riding with it. Hi everyone, welcome to the Lovecraft Country dissection. What is a dissection? It is a deep dive into the visual layer as well as the storytelling of our favorite Black TV shows. We started this year strong with Insecure. We followed it up with I May Destroy You. We're keeping it here with episode 9 dissection. I appreciate all of you who were early. I appreciate my patrons in the room. I see some patrons in the room, and listen to this. If you are not a patron, this is your last dissection of Lovecraft Country. Let me repeat. If you are not a patron, this is your last dissection of Lovecraft Country. I am dissecting the season finale only on Patreon for the $5 tier. That's nothing, Daddy. The quality you get, the thinking you get, the community you get, the love you get in this love room. $5 a month to access exclusive dissections. Last Sunday, we did Watchmen. We did the pilot of Watchmen. Shout out to the patrons who showed up for that. Y'all always hold me down. We had a good time in there. And the episode 10 season finale will only be on patreon.com/JustLatasha. If you're not a patron, you will miss it. Y'all, what is we watching next? What is we doing next? I was supposed to ask this last week and I totally forgot because I was so into what was happening. What is we watching next? Make sure to hit me in the chat and in the comments to let me know. If you are not doing so by now, please go ahead and follow me on social media. I am on Instagram at JustLatasha. I am on Twitter at JustLatasha404. I am currently in production for my sketch comedy series, Just Latasha's Interactions. I love comedy. It's my first time acting, working with some fly people. Shout out to Dustin Ross of The Friend Zone in my series. Shout out to Mandy B of Horrible Decisions in my series. Unfortunately, Jesse Wu can no longer remain committed to the project because that would have been exciting and fun, but things happen. I also have Jameer Pond of Cocoa Butter, Black Side of BuzzFeed. I also have my boy Decent of Pop Dust. Watch all of his interviews. The power, the creativity, the Blackness, the abundance, the success, the love. I want to give you guys just, the depths of my mind, my heart, my creativity. I want to give you guys good stuff, good quality. So it's going to be good. There's so much good stuff coming. Just launched my new series, Piece of Script, on YouTube, coming out every Thursdays. Last Thursday was the first launch of the series, Piece of Script. And I started with Moonlight, talking about language of color theory, very delicate, intimate language between two Black men and between screenwriter and audience, very delicate language. Somebody on Twitter was like, I don't even understand Moonlight. I said, because it's that delicate. You didn't even know what you was watching, did you? Go ahead and watch my video so you can understand. I don't want to waste no more of your time. Shout out to CJ, who's a patron. Shout out to Myra Sharice, who's a patron. Shout out to A. Barty, who's a patron. Who else we got in here? Shout out to Cassia, DJ, CB. I see y'all in here. I'm so happy that y'all are here. Shout out to So Iconic, who's a patron. I see y'all in here. Thank you so much. Shout out to the early people. 50 Yachts was here. Mac was here first. DJ was here first. Rosa Sparks was here first. Love my early birds. Let's jump right in. Lovecraft Country, episode 9, Rewind, 1921. This episode was powerful. I saw y'all sitting in the chat talking about y'all was crying. I didn't cry, but the message that occurred, the love between generations of Black family. We're gonna dissect tonight. We're gonna do it tonight. Let's do it. Let's jump right in. Is we ready? Let's jump right in. Yeah, I know I go up for my opening shot. Sarai's a patron. What's up? Hi to Danielle Wilson. What's up? Yeah, I know I love my opening shot. I had new patrons too. Shout out to Khaled. Shout out to LB, who's a consistent patron. Wanye and Christine, and is a whole bunch of people signed up this week. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to shout y'all out and point y'all out on Instagram. So I hope y'all saw that and you loved it, because I love when you're on my side. Open and shot, an unconscious Diana. Am I getting email? An unconscious Diana with that dead arm, y'all. Y'all know the little pickaninnies done got to her. You know Topsy and Bopsy done slid her off real quick. Dying slowly, unfortunately. Unfortunately, our brave, courageous, beautiful little Diana. And everyone this week want to come to her rescue, unlike last week. Y'all let her go off on her own by herself. Now everybody want to crowd around and help. And Tick last episode mentioned that when not last episode, 2 episodes ago, the I Am episode, Tick mentioned that when Hippolyta disappeared into the portal, he also went somewhere. He went to the future, and he received a copy of the LoveCraft novel created by his son, George Freeman. And he was handed this book by a hooded person with a robotic arm. Did he say it was the right arm or the left? Because this left arm is the one that's dead. Did he say? And I saw y'all in the chat going off. And you know what's up? Like, this chat has like a lag. So after I spoke about D, and we spoke about Topsy and Bopsy slashing up that arm, everybody's like, it's gotta be D, it's gotta be D, it's gotta be D. And I had lost which part we was talking about. But y'all estimated that D was the figure handing Tick the book in that futuristic portal. Well, I'm following y'all, because y'all put me onto stuff all the time. I'm following y'all. Okay? Y'all said it may be D. Well, let's look at it. It's the way Letty matches the house for me. It's the way she matches the house. Officially a Freeman, officially a part of the family. And with holding on to Tick's baby, she is officially a part of the family. I loved it. Look at Montrose. Softening. Montrose is softening. We see an angry, hardened, that usual Montrose who's ready for a fight, ready to go up anytime, paired against delicate items right behind him. That soft lace, the florals behind him, right? But it still has like this really dark color. So we're having an argument. We're having this misbalance. Really hard, but wanting to be softer. He can't quite get there yet. But we saw him come to Dee's rescue. We see him trying. Because let me tell you something, unlearning is not easy. That's really the conversation to be had. Unlearning is not easy. He had to be like this his whole life, not just because he wanted to be, but for his survival and safety. He had to be this hardened person, the shell of a man. You can imagine how scary it is for this middle-aged man to unlearn that and soften and be vulnerable when aggression is what got you by. Aggression and violence is what got you by. Man. Tick wants to ask Christina to give magic to save D, and in exchange, he'll give Titus's pages. But we already beat you. I'm sorry, baby, I already did it. Letty already did it. Oops. And in exchange for her giving Titus's pages to Christina, Christina blessed her with the magic of invulnerability. Letty cannot be harmed. She cannot die. Big power. Big power. I love just how in the background is 2 sides of people talking to each other. Their colors are reversed. We got yellow on Letty, but on opposite side of Tick, and we got this bluish hue on Tick and on the opposite side of Letty. Like, y'all want the same thing? Y'all just not really coming together with it. Like, y'all just not really like meshing and like doing it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not here with it. Well, then let's get her in here then. Ruby said, look, these people have nothing to offer Christina at this moment, but Ruby said she loved me. With my help, she'll be here, right? And Dee's curse is sealed with Lancaster's body, who's dead. He is dead. So how are we going to get this curse off of this girl? Christina has a temporary spell that can help. What I'm going to do is just reset the time that this thing is happening in her body. I'm just going to reset it so it starts over. So you have a little bit more time, but evidently this thing is going to eat her up. It's going to eat her right up. Okay? But if I do that, see, this girl always got something. I need to know the fullness of her plan. What are we doing? What are we doing, Christina? In exchange for that little favor, because it ain't really about you, Ruby. I'm going to drag her ass later. I'm going to drag Ruby. In exchange for me helping you real quick, Tick has to willingly go to Artem during the autumnal equinox, where Christina will attempt her immorality spell. She's going to be immortal with Tick's blood. He better come with me. Tick says yes. And to begin the spell, they need the blood of Dee's closest relative. And with her mother, Hippolyta, gone, Montrose is next in line. Let's talk about our theme for tonight's episode. Let's talk themes. We are talking generational sacrifice. What do I have to give my bloodline access to life? What do I have to give? And what Tick was just asked for the next generation in line, what Tick was just asked for Dee is to come give your life. Come hand your life right over if you want to save this little girl. Without hesitation, he said yes. Ooh. Ooh. Y'all don't know what Ruby's deal is. The way she's, let's drag her collectively. Let's get to these two. Now, the only reason why Lancaster is alive, because we saw him die with that nigga, we called it. I called it that. The nigga, the black shaka. I am so inappropriate. Oh, that nigga then tore Lancaster up. We saw him die, but here he is in this closet wailing with more black body pieces to replace what he lost with this spell. But William already put a spell on that and said, that's clip. You're done. I actually put a spell on top of your spell to where you will never heal. You will never heal the way your spell intends to. The death of the body he uses was for selfish and evil greed. He's stealing. Lancaster is stealing black bodies for his selfish, evil greed. Let's lean back into our theme because this is not a sacrifice. You are taking from people. This is a violent theft. This is what it costs that black person's life, a violent theft. So it wasn't in giving, in this symbiosis of I give to you and you give to me. This was that theft. So your payment for that is death. Your wounds will never close and you will die 1,000 deaths. Your spell is done. And William says regeneration could be life or could be a curse. Let's talk generations and ancestral giving. Now let's talk about what white people did. Because through privilege, white people regenerate life for their bloodlines. They regenerate life. You get to have more. You get to have more access. What do black people regenerate? Look at that black body on Lancaster. What do black people regenerate? Our ancestors' same fight, our ancestors' same struggle, our ancestors' same deaths. We can call out the same exact deaths from today and last year as we did in the 60s, 70s, 50s, 40s, the same exact black deaths. So what Lancaster gets for his selfish evilness is that he gets the gift of reliving the death of the Black body. That's your payment for being a thief and a racist and a supremacist and a dum-dum who hurt my Diana with your nasty mouth. I was like, there are no nipples. Indie girl. Someone's dying. Indie girl. Cupid said Lancaster had a satisfactory death. What does that mean? What does that mean? We'll see. Let's go ahead and move right along. Let's look at this top photo with Montrose. Sitting in George's crowded bookstore, and it looks like he's just, it looks heavy. It looks dense. It looks crowded, like he's drowning in stuff. But he's got some moonshine, and I don't know if I was thirsty, hungry. I don't know what had happened, but his moonshine looks refreshing. His moonshine looks refreshing, like water or air. Look at this room, and then look at this glowing crystal. The light is on it. This is how he gives himself space to breathe in this mess. It's just an escape. And this is how people abuse drugs and alcohol, right? They want to run from their problems and what they feel. This is the escape, this thing. Because the way they sold me this moonshine, I was like, I want to sip too. Shout out to Britt, who just became a patron. I'll see you on Sunday. Shout out to you, Britt, who's going to get the exclusive LoveCraft Country Dissection, the season finale, only on Patreon. But then Tick comes in, and he tries to stunt like his daddy and taste a little bit of that moonshine, but he chokes and gags because it's not good, and it's strong, right? AKA, Tick can't handle what it takes to heal Montrose. Y'all said, girl, you was thirsty. Okay, because y'all didn't want no crystal. CJ said that crystal clear gasoline. Y'all ain't want to sip. Y'all could be in the chat line if you want to. Tick can't handle Montrose's healing because he has no idea the weight of his father's trauma. Let's have a very real conversation. And I'm guilty of this part. Because I could look at my parents and be like, y'all did this to me, and I got traumas and I have to heal, and y'all should have been here, and y'all should have did this, y'all should have. It's so easy to judge your parents on like who they are currently in your life, in your experience. It's so easy to judge them for where they fail and lack and have their flaws. But do we ever give empathy to their wounds? Has Tick ever stopped to just say, what must it have felt like for you? All Tick did this entire season, you did this to me and you bad daddy. You ain't never give that man space to breathe. There never been an empathetic place where he can rest. Tick. Have y'all been that for your parents? A safe space where they can rest? Child? And Montrose loses just a little bit of encouragement, and Tick picks him right back up. Your contribution to this fight matters. You're gonna go ahead, like you fixed all this stuff, you're gonna go ahead and fix D2 with your blood. Ooh, ooh, we may have a problem. We may have a problem. Montrose is not quite tied as closely to the bloodline as we thought, because he finally reveals that Tick may be George's son. So without Dora, without George, and Hippolyta's gone, Montrose's blood is type far away. It's kind of far away. He may not have any presence here. Ooh, and the curvy med said, and ooh. Just when you think you're getting along. Dang. Where the hell she been? Well, now she's home to give her blood to help D get out of this unconsciousness, this curse. right? Just to start Christina's very temporary spell to start resetting this death on Dee's body. And to our surprise, Dee has turned into a pickaninny. Cupid Suffer said, shooketh. Baby, when I saw this, I done about jumped so hard. I jumped so hard. Paige W says, wait, Montrose is still an uncle, right? You know Black family be having... Dee has started to morph into this pickaninny ghost soul devil demon. And we are here in an aerial shot, camera looking down on the characters, which usually means, and usually supposed to feel as if this is like a bird's eye view, a God's eye view, and you're supposed to feel watched. You're supposed to feel not alone. You're supposed to feel peered over. So let me jump in the chat for our first audience question of the night. Why do you think we are here with this aerial shot? Why are we using this shot? Why are we seeing our characters from above? We have no idea what Hippolyta just strolled back in. First of all, the machine broke. So you just spent like another however long outside. The machine broke. How you even get back? Let's start there. How did you get back? Because the machine's broke. Anyway, because Hippolyta outside being funky. Why do we think we're seeing an aerial view of our characters? So Iconic guesses a fate is being made. Lana Stevenson says, this is Christina's control over that whole house. Janelle says, it makes everyone on screen seem powerless. I feel that, Janelle. I like that. Magic Hour says, it's giving me out of body vibes like Dee has left the building. Not Corey said, it's giving casket tease. Don't do that. We're not doing that to Miss Diana. Indie Girl says, it gave me a spectator field. Maya says, it's all orchestrated by otherworldly forces. And Maya, let's talk about it. Let's talk about otherworldly forces. Let's talk about it. Diana looks exactly like the God tier figure from the I Am episode, where Tick said this person who gave him that LoveCraft Country book by his son had a robotic arm. Mara Cherie said, oh shit. Let's talk about it. Which to me would explain the God view when we see Dee. Whenever we see Dee in this episode, somebody said it's an outer body experience. Somebody said it's otherworldly. Somebody said Dee has left the building. It feels God tier. It feels God tier. Just observing. I'm not saying this to answer. I'm just observing. We thinking out loud here, right? Because the gag is, while you're trying to turn her into a pickaninny and dehumanize her, we was the ones who made you. The Black woman is the creator of mankind. Literally, no one will be here without the presence of a Black woman on this earth first and foremost. I'm gonna hold off on D because I got more for you. I'm gonna hold off. Let's get back into the story. Ruby tells Letty she's stupid for being with the violent man and to come on and get in Christina's car. Both y'all partners are stupid if we being honest. Both y'all partners is real dumb if we being honest. Y'all both make me mad. All of you. And Ruby tells her sister Letty, my girl is going to kill your man, and that's none of my business. That's none of my business. Squad back. The spell has worked. Dee's curse has reset. We have a little bit more time now to come save our baby. And we have to find the source of magic to fix Dee, which is the Book of Names, which was confirmed to have been burned up and destroyed back during the Tulsa massacre of 1921. Hippolyta is going to go fix the multiverse machine, go back in time, and Squad got to go get the book. We asked her where the hell she been. She says she's been on Earth 504 for 200 years, and reveals to the Squad that she has the power of naming herself anything that she so desires. I am thinking out loud, can she override the Book of Names? Because Tick needs it for his lineage, for power, the way Black people need their lineage for power. Hippolyta needs only herself. That's going to mean something later. And I know it is, because we're talking about lineage, power, bloodlines, birthrights. And Hippolyta said, I am. Her daughter's giving God tier teas. They might be good. What y'all want? What y'all want? Leaning back into our theme of sacrifices and regenerative sacrifices, Hippolyta sacrificing her power to give Dee access to life. Let's talk a little bit more about death. Christina tells Ruby the truth about Dell, who this was, and her plan to kill Atticus to use his blood to become immortal on the autumnal equinox. Christina says she wants an eternity of firsts. And these two are in love because honestly, they relate. They feel like as women, through very specific experiences, the world has sheltered them, held them back, and limited them. Shout out to Janelle, who just became a patron. You now have access to the LoveCraft Country exclusive season finale dissection. $5 for that access. Shout out to Janelle. I will see you on Sunday. So they relate here, right? And Christina's giving this freedom to Ruby, and Ruby's kind of giving her access to Tick, and it works. It's strange, but it works. And then Ruby does something. Ruby is willing to let Tick die as long as his sister is saved. As a sister, fair, but where we get real strange is the fact that she wants to become a red-headed white woman, and she looks forward to becoming this thing. Give me a second, because you just said yesterday, and by yesterday I meant our last episode, you had a whole spiel with Letty talking about you don't want to be white because none of them are spaces for you anyway, and now you're dreaming of being a redhead. Ruby, this better be a reverse plan, because I swear, for God, I will fight you myself. I love you because you're beautiful and fine and voluptuous, but that's like one mo. Ruby, we're going to have to step outside like real quick, because what is it? Like, what is it? Pinky Apple said, the machinations. Christine says, Ruby is disappointing me. Shout out to Christine, who's a patron. Look, what's up, Cleve, who's a patron? Ruby is going to get Christina. It better be a reverse plan, I swear on everything, because what are we doing? A redhead? For whomst and why? Corey says, also, I think Ruby is playing Christina in this scene. She's getting information while telling Christina what she wants to hear. Okay, Jay Pollard follows up, Ruby's playing her. Oh, Cat Girl says, I think it was an Easter egg for the book. Because, I ain't read the book, so it better be a reverse plan, because I don't know what Ruby on. It better be a reverse plan, because what is Ruby on? On some weird shit, bro. Like, Ruby, you and them kitten heels. Let's go. Let's hit the curb ASAP. Montrose and the gang head back to Kansas, where this multiverse broken machine is, and Hippolyta is going to fix it. And while they're helping Dee rest and sit down and set up for this trip, he reveals that he knows Letty is pregnant. He reveals that he knows it's a boy. And Letty reveals that Montrose reveals that Tick knows he'll die in Christina's spell during the autumnal equinox. Sacrificing for generational gifts. Tick is preparing to sacrifice himself for his son. Andy, right? Putting his body and his life on the line to save the next generation. And as Montrose is prepping this, he's getting a little nervous, right? He's prepping to meet his trauma that shocked him back in Tulsa in 1921. He knows he has to go see that again. Hippolyta becomes the motherboard, is the link to the portal, uses her body to open this portal to this time, using lineage to get back into the exact space where they were. Shout out to Dreamland Theatre. Yesterday on the Patreon exclusive, we dissected the pilot episode of Watchmen, and we spoke a bit about Dreamland Theatre, which was an actual real theater of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And in Watchmen and in this series, LoveCraft Country, Dreamland Theatre, and they designed it exactly the same. It might just be the same set. Look, if you could save money, save it. Save your money wherever you can. I don't care if you're HBO or not. Go ahead and use my set from the last thing. That's smart. But it's a real theater. And I love that. And I love that this Dreamland Theater is in both of these series. I should have dissected the entire Watchmen. I don't know what I was doing back then. Missed opportunity. So right here, we're inside this portal back in Tulsa, 1921. The same night the Freeman's family's house burned with all of the family inside. And they consciously know they must relive this trauma. And to go on this journey in Tulsa, they know they look out of place, so they go ahead and change their clothes. But Montrose's trauma and drinking begins to affect his readiness to go along with the plan. And Tick is doing his feeling all betrayed about learning that Uncle George wasn't really his daddy. And I want us to remember the colors of their clothes that they changed into, because we will be discussing that a tad later. We will be discussing that a tad later. Sarai said I was digging the dad's mustache. I was digging the dad. Let's go on and meet him. We sit as we watch, as the squad watches Montrose, young Montrose, getting beat by his drunken, angry, hardened father. Beating him the way he beat his own son, Tick. Now, think of how William gave Lancaster, who was wearing that black body, 1,000 deaths. And look at the deaths these men put onto each other, one generation after the other after the other. Where do you have a hand in regenerative deaths? Generational deaths, ancestral deaths. Where are you passing down the pain, the trauma, and the deaths? Lineage. Because you have a choice to make it be love, make it be healing, or make it be violence and death. You have a choice. We meet Tick's mom, Dora, who becomes the hero, protecting Montrose from this drunk man. He is fine, y'all. Will Catlett. Thank you, so iconic. I like a father. Don't bring your daddy around me, true player for real, ex Puff Daddy. I like a father. Gotta leave the kids at home, but me and dad. Dora stands up for Montrose, unlike George, who hides in the background. And this is the first time Tick, for a second, stops idolizing Uncle George, right? He has this idea of who Uncle George was. And for the first time, he sees his shortcomings. And the idealization of who Uncle George was in his mind held more weight than the reality of the man Uncle George was. A man that made his wife small, lessened his wife, and didn't protect Montrose. And Dora drags George for not protecting Montrose, and grown Montrose hiding in that shack tells the squad, nah, she wrong. George actually helped me more than anyone else. Now, I had a question. I ain't watching that show. Love is? No, no. My question for y'all, audience question. Montrose believes he deserved his father's beatings and also believes that George helped him more than anyone else when we just watched George back down. I feel like Montrose's story, can y'all rely on him? Can y'all rely on Montrose's recollection and how he sees things? Does he feel like a commanding voice, a voice that we can trust? Because I'm not seeing what he's saying. How do y'all feel about Montrose's take on George and what it has? Myra Cherie says Montrose needs therapy. Yes. The Curvy Met said, seems like everyone but George was saving Montrose. Tick and his mother. What makes him do that? What makes him romanticize and save George when George has failed him? And didn't they say that in like episode 1 and 2? Like, wasn't they, or episode 2, they was mad? Like, you wasn't there when my daddy was beating me or something. Did he say that already? Danielle Wilson says, remember Tick drags George in episode 1 for not protecting him against Montrose? Yeah, so that's what I'm remembering. Yes. You don't do nothing when my daddy beat me. Yeah, that's what I'm remembering. I was like, didn't they have this conversation already? CJ says, Montrose is used to internalizing the violence enacted on him. His daddy beats him. He says he deserved it. George backs down and don't do nothing about it. He says, George protected me more than everybody. I'm not seeing what Montrose is talking about. Pinky Apple says, I think George helped him after the massacre. All these three had was each other. Same here, right? Because it was George, Montrose, and Dora, and now it's Letty, Tick, and Montrose, the new squad. And they're going to go through the same thing. They're going to go through the same trauma of the Tulsa massacre together, which Montrose says that's an unbreakable bond. Experiencing something like that together makes an unbreakable bond. Jordan Kelly says a lot of Black people feel they deserve the beatings they got as kids. Ooh. Indie Girl says, I think when you are in an abusive situation, you romanticize the person who was the least abusive. Okay, I don't know. I don't have that personal experience, but it sound right to me. Yes, Trini Boy. Shout out to Damien, who's a patron as well. Didn't Teddy Perkins say the same thing about his dad in Atlanta? And we dissected the Teddy Perkins episode on Patreon too. Or actually, no, we did it on public access. Public access. On the Teddy Perkins episode of Atlanta, this character was Teddy Perkins is supposed to loosely play a Michael Jackson who idolizes his very abusive father. So I'm not trusting Montrose the way he had things in his head. Did we ever meet Ethel? I don't think so, Danielle. I was looking for her too. We met somebody else I'm gonna drag a little bit later too. So we all split up. Montrose goes to the park where Tick thinks he goes to find and save George. Letty's got to stay behind and get the book of names and go into the Freeman household. Tick will go find Montrose to stop him from intervening and possibly messing up the future. And it right here in this shot is confirmed that Letty is going to name their son George. I love that. Love that for them. Well, let's get inside the house. We got to meet the family. Now we're meeting the Freemans. We got Beulah. We got Hattie, Nana Hattie. Some other gentlemen running around because Letty is being chased by a white supremacist mob. So guns out, okay? The Tulsa riots have officially begun, and a family member says that this must be the mess where Dick was at the Stratford. So the Stratford Hotel is exactly where this squad has landed. When they came through the portal, they started at the Stratford Hotel. So let's just run down some Black history real quick. We have John B. Stratford, the richest Black man on Black Wall Street in 1921. His luxurious 54-room Stratford Hotel, located on the famous Greenwood Avenue. It was the finest Black-owned hotel in the country and even rivaled some of the white-owned hotels in Oklahoma. You know they was mad. They ain't like that Black dollar coming on up. They hated that. And John B. Stratford was charged with inciting a riot. You white niggas was outside and y'all bothering JB? Mm-hmm. But he escaped the Tulsa massacre on a train as he watched his hotel burn to the ground. So in this Freeman house right now, everybody is strapped. They shoot to warn, and then they shoot to kill. We got a plan. We got protection. We got to hold each other down. The fuck wrong with Beulah? What was Beulah on? Seriously. What the fuck was she doing? Who the fuck? Sweet on them. Baby, you have a gun in your hand. What are we talking about school crushes for? And George wasn't for you, to keep it frank. The fuck wrong with Beulah? Who? Let's get into Thomas and Montrose. Maya said, that Beulah confused me. Cupid said she was scared. Sure. But what? Curvy Man said, I didn't know how to feel when I saw them give Black women the gun. Oh, Black women shoot. Don't kid yourself. Let's go into Thomas and Montrose. Montrose from the alley watching. He wasn't coming down here to stop and save George. He came down here to see his first love, Thomas, and maybe something could change. And Montrose says, I lost that boy's name. Now we know the lineage and the bloodline and the names are crucial. I lost that boy's name. He couldn't just be dead. He had to no longer exist. Let's lean into our themes again, because again, right here, this is regenerative death. This is how Lancaster steals Black bodies, how white supremacy stole our names, our identities, our lineage. When they get to do all that, we do not exist. If I can't see myself, I can't be myself. What was that in Black is King? What was that, Black is King? If I can't see myself, I can't be myself. We were just bodies to white supremacy. We were just cargo, the way Lancaster uses those pieces to heal himself and keep moving. That's all we were. So Montrose, to make peace with the death of Thomas, his first love, he couldn't even exist. He couldn't even live in death, which is how we remember our ancestors and how we remember our lineage, through death. That's how we honor them and keep them alive. That's too painful for Montrose. No. Indie Girl says, I wanted to hug them both. DZ Tay said, this is the point in the episode where I started getting teary. I was not ready. This was an emotional one. Montrose continues by saying, by erasing his name is the only way I didn't die here with him. I can save him now. So what he had to go from regenerative death, he tried to come back here and turn it back into life. But he can't. He's not allowed. And we see the last words that Thomas heard before he dies. The N-word, F-word. I dare not repeat that phrase. I hope y'all do not type it in the chat. The last words Thomas hears before his life is brutally taken is you N-word, F-word. And now we get to think about how Tick called Montrose the F-word. The word he watched his first love die to. Ooh, without that healing, we just keep giving it to each other, huh? Shout out to Meet Our Glaze, who just became a patron. I will see you on Sunday for the exclusive LoveCraft Country season finale dissection. Shout out to you, Glaze. It's terrible. But you know what? We're gonna change. Because somebody in the lineage has to stop it, right? Somebody has to do the white flag. Somebody has to wave the white flag. We're not going to continue this anymore. Montrose has a choice to make, and if he saved Thomas, Tick will not exist. Thomas is the first of many sacrifices I made to be your father. We give regenerative life. I choose my son. I choose fatherhood. I choose you, and I will have to let that go. So now it doesn't haunt him anymore. He can lay it to rest. Now I want to talk about the colors they're wearing. Both in white. It's giving reset. It's giving forgiveness. It's giving cleansing. It's giving softness. Thank you, Trini Boy, for the super chat. Montrose finishes by saying, I cut out all the soft parts of myself to be a man because men have sons. And the viciousness men inject into their sons to harden them, to keep that trauma going. These two men said, CJ says, I loved Tick comforting Montrose in that moment. Let's go back to that scene earlier when we tried that moonshine. I tried to taste a piece of your pain. I tried to taste a piece of what you needed to heal, and I couldn't handle it. As Montrose tells Tick, I choose you. I made sacrifices to be your father. Well, like that moonshine, both in blue, Tick was the air Montrose needed to breathe. He sacrifices his trauma. He releases his trauma so Tick can have access to life. This is what I give to you, my son. This is what I will put down so you can have life. That's what our ancestors did. It's what our lineage did. All of them. All of that sacrifice. All of it. Trini Boy said, damn the patriarchy. Little did Tick know he was Montrose's healing too. Whew, it was a journey, but they got there, huh? They got there. We got to get back to the house. Now I'm gonna mix up the order just a little bit so we can focus on what's happening to whose story. What's up, Just Nicole? Welcome. Who says Tick comforting his father after telling him he was done with Montrose. Big turnaround. Big turnaround. We meet Nana Hattie. Who knew something was up with Letty because them sneakers was funky? What's up with them shoes? And Letty lets her know the truth. You have the same birthmark as Tick. I am his girlfriend. I am from the future. I'm coming back so I can get the book of names so I can bring it back to the future with me. We need it to save Tick and your great, great grandbaby. And like Montrose, Hattie has a choice to make. She sacrifices saving her family on the lower level to stay behind and give Letty the book of names. Shout out to Darius, who just became a patron. I feel you. I see you and I feel you. I will see you for the exclusive LoveCraft Country Dissection season finale, Darius. And Hattie gives Letty just a little bit of, just some rules. This book is to be used for welfare and not evil. And I'm giving it to you for my great, great grandson so that her faith lives through him in the flesh. Her faith is turned to flesh, regenerating life. This is why we thank the ancestors, their life and work and sacrifice so we can have this chance to live. What do we give back to them? How do we thank them? How do we keep their names alive? How do we keep their legacies alive? How do we repay them for what they gave us? And how do we give it to the next generation? She didn't go downstairs and save her family. She stayed upstairs so that great great grandbaby could have a way to life. DJ says, it was at that moment I knew I had to forgive my mother. Whoa! The sacrifices she made for me was evident even with the hurt and trauma she gave me. Baby, what I had to heal with my mother, it takes an incredible journey of empathy to the way these characters had to go to Tulsa and see it for themselves. Because Ancestors and lineage can talk about it. They can tell you the stories all day. Montrose told this Tulsa story to Tick 1,000,000 times. Tick can recite it by heart. He heard the story so many times, but until he saw it, it takes that empathy to be like, this is why you made the choice, that it hurt me. I was just a casualty of the pain that you were unable to heal. I release and forgive. And I thank you. And I go ahead and give life to the next generation because your pain stops with me. Janelle says, when I tell you this scene broke me, Janelle, the new patron. I see it. That's it. That's it. Yes, Young Royalty Productions, this is exactly what I wanted to say. I'm so happy you reminded me. This is why that I'm not my ancestors phrase annoys the hell out of me. And it sure do. That is one of the most disrespectful things you can say. You will not buck up the way your ancestors did. You make t-shirts and hashtags. Your ancestors was outside. Guns in every drawer. Handing them to the women in the house. I'm going upstairs. You go out back. Hold down the fort. That's what your ancestors were doing. I'm not my ancestors. I hit you. Your ancestors murdered. Shoddy. What's up? Don't say that mess. Do not say that mess. CJ Lorraine says, favorite line of the episode, when my great-great-grandson is born, he will be my faith made flesh. That's it. And these women join hands as Hattie and Letty say the Lord's Prayer. Hattie consumed in the fire. Overplayed by a poem, Sonia Sanchez, the poem Catch the Fire, 1994. I say, where is your fire? Can you smell it coming out of our past? Sonia Sanchez, during the 1960s, was considered one of the major voices in the civil rights movement, women's liberation, and Black arts movement. This poem, Where is Your Fire, is a call to life and a call to lineage. And one of my favorite parts is seeing the death of the Freeman family as Miss Sanchez repeats the words, live, 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 live. Listen. Letty has the book of names, meaning she has the identities, the names, the lineage, the bloodline. She kept it alive. So as the house is burning, we freed and relived, made live again, all of the book of names. The identity and their bloodline is reborn. And because we know them, they are alive. Live, 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 live. I don't have time for my emotions. It was so good. We also, I'm not going to show the shot, but we also want to make note that Montrose recites the very real names of the lives lost during the Tulsa massacre as well. You keep their names alive by knowing them, saying them, speaking them, thanking them, living in infamy and history books. Out of the tales of your mouth, you keep them alive. Montrose allows himself to live by naming and processing the trauma. He never processed it. He did die when Thomas did. And now he can release it in a much healthier way and give to his grandson and his son Tick. Let's get back to him. Montrose is in trouble. Young Montrose is in trouble. And he remembers saying a stranger shows up holding a baseball bat like it was Jackie Robinson and hit home runs with their heads. It was your son. What is this show? What is this show? DJ says, I'm shopping at Walmart. I'm trying not to cry. Shout out to Kiara Brown, who just became a patron. Shout out to you. I'm so happy you're joining the family. We are doing the LoveCraft Country season finale dissection exclusively on Patreon. I will not be here with the show next week. Big one. $5 tier, big one. Make sure you do not miss it. We're going to be on Patreon and Patreon only. Tick giving life to his father. And it was, and when we first met Tick, he dreams of Jackie Robinson saying, I got you, kid, as he saves Tick and the Red Princess from the Cthulhu, the big monster. We saw this Jackie Robinson figure save Tick with his baseball bat. I wonder if Tick is going to save himself. He's going to have the whole squad with him, of course. But the fact that he dreams of this Jackie Robinson figure, and the fact that he is this Jackie Robinson figure, and we've been calling it throughout the series, he don't know he the hero yet. He's slowly awakening to it. He don't know he the hero yet. So is his Jackie Robinson figure from his dream just a projection because that's really him? Sarai says, Tick looking directly at his young father saying the iconic line, I got you, kid. Ooh. Ooh. Indie Girl says, it was almost like forgiving the kid inside of his father for abusing him. Wow. Wow. Whew. Now let's talk about her outfit. Now let's talk about her outfit. Red, that with that fringe, that fiery red fringe, because she is the fire. And I saw people on Twitter going off like, why is she walking so slow? Hurry up, we gotta get in the portal. Everybody on Twitter was going, she is so slow. Here's my idea. Montrose was slow to enter because he was so fearful of the trauma of his past, but Letty is slow to return because, again, this major form of empathy, I saw it for you firsthand. Giving life to each other. Both are returning back to their time zone with life. Montrose setting his traumas free, Letty bringing back the book of names. Both are returning with life. DJ says a phoenix. Pinky Apple says sis needed to be running though. True. Very true. Young World says, you know, she was a little slow. It was with reason, y'all. Be nice. Shout out to Coco Henderson for becoming a patron. I'll see you Sunday for the exclusive, the private, the patron only LoveCraft Country season finale dissection. I'll see you on Sunday. Look, I called this in episode 1 and I remember saying this. What up, Khaled? He's one of the newer patrons as well. This scene was powerful. She said, the world will bend at my will. I called this in episode 1. And I have the screenshots from episode 1. And I said, Diana and Hippolyta are wearing too close of colors, and they're both handing this blue comic over to George. Either they're going to become the superhero, or they're going to be something, or they're both involved with this astronaut lady. I called it in episode 1. This is how powerful color is, y'all. This is how powerful color is. Hippolyta becoming Orinthia Blue, using all of her power and body and might to keep this portal open because Letty was moving slow. Here's the gag, because here's part 2 of that Diana might be God. Is y'all ready? Tap in. Tap, tap, tap in. Is y'all ready? Let me know when y'all ready. Because I'm going to gag you. Let me know when you're ready. Here's the gag. Hippolyta is Orinthia Blue, but Diana is the creator. Diana created the comic. She's the creator. Diana is the creator. Diana is the creator. Diana is the creator. Like Tick saved his father as a mysterious stranger, Diana gave her mother her name, I Am. And when that God tier figure introduced themselves to Hippolyta, all they said was, I am. Hippolyta said, I am Hippolyta. I am Hippolyta. I am George's wife. I can name myself anything. The creator said, I am, period. Diana is the creator of this comic. I make you. Name yourself. Regenerative life from daughter to mother, the way we saw with Tick and his father. We owe life to those who came before us. Avril asks, is Dee drawing the future, or is the future coming from her daughter's drawings? Is she alerting the future? Well, let's look at it. The last shot. Where is Diana located according to where everybody else is at? Where's Diana at compared to everybody else? God view. Diana is elevated next to the object, next to the telescope that's pointing to the universe. Shout out to Megan A for becoming a patron. Diana is elevated with the telescope that looks to the universe, giving you that God shot. Shout out to Latoya. Thank you so much for that super chat. I appreciate it so much. Aerial shot. Aerial shot. It's giving God for me. It's giving God for me. Black woman, tap, tap, tap in. Black woman, tap, tap, tap in. We serve. We give. We are. I am. I am and we are. What you mean? I'm so blessed to be a Black woman. I would choose nothing else. Messy bun and all. The fuck? The fuck? Thank you so much for joining me for this episode 9 dissection. I had so much fun with this series. Please let me know what series you guys would like to start next. I'm going to be asking my patrons. You guys can leave it in the chat, in the comments. I'm going to be taking suggestions of which series we're going to be starting next. If you are not a patron, this is your last dissection. The season finale will be on patreon.com/JustLatasha only. If you are not a patron, this is your last dissection. You're done. You're cut. That's so mean. You're done. If you're not following me on social media, please do so. I am JustLatasha on Instagram. I am JustLatasha404 on Twitter. I am producing and starring in my sketch comedy series, Just Latasha's Interactions. I'm hella excited. The people who have financially donated to our Seed and Spark campaign are joining our virtual table read this week. So that's hella exciting. You guys are going to see me acting and doing the part before everybody else. Wondering how I can include more people in that. We'll see. So follow the show page at Interactions, INNR Actions on both Instagram and Twitter for BTS footage. Our stories be so lit because we shoot every Saturdays. So we be showing you how it's moving on set, who's with us. We've had some incredible directors attached to the project. Shout out to Bex Francois of Black Girl Podcast. Shout out to Katiana Duplessis of the Amare series, working with some more fire directors. Follow the show page and find out who they are. Okay? Good things are going. Thank you so much. I will be back on Thursday with my new series, Piece of Script. Short, sweet, about one of my favorite Black films. So I'll see you later. Bye. Click that like button, subscribe. Yeah, thanks.